during this period, even beyond the Yuletide period. And I have two eminent gentlemen in the studio. Call them the right peg for the right hole. Sitting very close to me is Professor ADEGOKE BAKARE of the Department of Hospitality and Tourism, Federal University of Agriculture, FUNAB, Abeokuta. Dr. ADEGOKE, Professor, welcome to the program.
Good morning, sir.
And of course,
morning, viewers.
Immediately seated next to Professor ADEGOKE is a lawmaker in Ogun State, member of the current assembly of Ogun State. Because what we want to discuss today, maybe at the end of the day, we'll need some form of legal backing, some form of laws, at least to back it up, so that me and you, and of course our state and the country at large, will have maximum benefit of the outcome of whatever I want to discuss. And you can't say nil when you have opportunities of making good things out of nothing. Honorable OLUDAISI ELEMIDE is a member of the Ogun State House of Assembly, and of course, somebody that knows much about tourism and hospitality. You're welcome to the program, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, sir.
And of course, my colleague is still here, and I will report her to you in the course of this production. He did something behind you, but I'm going to avoid it. Muji, you are still here.
You should be talking about financial compensation, and you're talking about reporting me. Anyway, let's start with the program. The topic, just as I said, is tourism and hospitality during Yuletide and beyond. And we have two gentlemen with us to shed light into this. It's not just about traveling interstate or overseas. It entails buying and selling too. You know, a lot of people are doing last-minute shopping. Should I say last-minute shopping? Well, they're shopping now, buying foods, buying gifts for loved ones, and they have plans to relax. How will they relax? They have to go into the hospitality segment, the sector, to do one thing or the other to relax, you know. So that led to the topic of tourism and hospitality during Yuletide and beyond. And he told you that we have Professor ADEGOKE BAKARE of the Department of Hospitality and Tourism, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, and Honorable OLUDAISI ELEMIDE, a member of Ogun State House of Assembly, and he is a tourism guru. You're both welcome. I'll start with Professor ADEGOKE. Tourism and hospitality during Yuletide and beyond. Let's start with tourism first, this period. What does it entail?
Thank you very much, my dear presenter. Tourism, maybe the best way to start is to even look at what the meaning of tourism itself. As coined by the UNWTO, the concept entails movement of people from their usual place of abode to another environment for a period not more than one consecutive year. That is 12 months. And by that definition, that is looking at tourism in a broader concept. But when you look at it, even from the basis of the domestic aspect, whenever a person leaves his or her home, what the person has embarked upon is tourism activities. And if you now situate that against the season we are in, which is Yuletide. By the way, I think we need to clarify for the benefit of our listeners that Yuletide is not just about Christmas. We are talking about seasons that begins towards Christmas and beyond. And it is also important to say that while Christmas is devoted to celebrating the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ, the eminent personality of all times, it is not only Christians that celebrate Yuletides. You have the Muslims, you have other people, you know, being part of the season. And so Yuletide as a season holds a special place for Nigerians, and by extension, it also has implication for tourism. And when you look at hospitality that goes with it, hospitality is about making people comfortable. It's about, you know, providing services that ensure that people are comfortable the moment they embark on tourism. That even starts from the time you set out. For instance, somebody traveling from home in a rickety vehicle, by the time he gets to the destination, we may first need to see the doctor. And that is why you discover that hospitality in itself begins with even the issue of transportation. So the concept is apt at this moment, and because of the importance of Yuletides to Nigerians and to the world at large, I want to particularly thank the management of OGTV and our dear presenter, and of course the Honorable, for deeming it fit to invite us to come and talk about this. Thank you.
Okay, let me come in now, Honorable ELEMIDE. Professor has just gave us the background and of course a template for which you want to take off on this discussion. He said as soon as you set out from your house, traveling, either in your car, either in public transport, going elsewhere, you embark on tourism. Of course, the hospitality part of it is you should be comfortable while moving. But you want to agree with me that as we speak, every part of the country, most of our roads are in deplorable state. And of course, like he said, when you get to your destination, the first thing you need to do is to try to make yourself comfortable and maybe try one or two hospitals or take medication to relax. Now, the federal, let me now come straight. The federal government, maybe to make this season very pleasant for people, announced some reduction, waivers for travelers, air, road, and of course by, what do you call it, by rail. I want to talk specifically about road, traveling on road. The waivers that federal government gave will not be very comprehensive. Very many people will not enjoy it because the template for which you must enjoy it, it is not here, it is not available in every part of the country. Take for instance, we want to travel from Abeokuta to Lagos or to Ibadan. There are no federal government mass transit buses that will give you that reduction. But of course, how do you think this can be maximized? I'm talking about road this time around. How do you think this can be? Because I don't know what federal government wants to do with the private vehicle operators. They want to subsidize for them. They want to give them fare. They want to give them whatever so as to reduce its cost.
Well, I wouldn't know how they want to go about it, but I see it as throwing a pebble at an elephant in the bid to kill the elephant. As just throwing an ordinary stone. But at least they started somewhere. I don't know what is going to happen between today and the end of the year. I don't know the miracle we can do or we can perform on our roads. People will just have to be selective and know where to go. They just have to be selective and know where to go. If we are talking of roads, it is not something we'll be talking about now. But anybody that is going out of his or her abode on tourism or on vacation, yes, it's part of vacation. That is, you leave your domain where hustling and bustling will disturb you, where you want to go and relax. You want to go and relax your muscles, put most of these major hassles behind you and relax and refuel energy. You will know where to go. And you will weigh the onions, you will weigh the coins. If I want to go to Olumiri now, okay, I have to consider the road. Does it worth it? If it doesn't worth it, well, I may decide to go to Ekpe and say, okay, from here to Ijebu-Ode, little houses, Ijebu-Ode to Ekpe, hassle free. So it's just a matter of choosing, a matter of choice. And reduction in transport fare, this is the first time it will come, it will happen, so we will learn. Because when you're talking of, now it is only rail that government can say, yes, we have 100% control of. And how many people will these trains occupy? Or how many people will go by rail? But we started somewhere. It's our government, it's my government, but we just have to say it as it is. But people will just have to start somewhere. It's just a matter of encouraging them, just encouraging people, okay, if we reduce by 50% where we have control, maybe private operators too will be forced to reduce. Like in Ogun State now, we have these new buses that we have just, initially it was 400 from the corridor to Lagos. Later on, the patronage was very low. They reduced it to 350. But still, they are running it at a loss. So those who...
Sorry, Honorable, are you talking about the CNG buses?
Yes. They are running it at a loss. I mean the long distance one. I'm not talking about the urban, the municipal buses. I don't know what is happening. I am just saying this because I'm the chairman, House Committee on Transportation. And we just met them and they said, look, people don't even want to, you know, in Ogun State we are not used to buses, except when you are traveling out of town. We are used to taxi stop.
Yes.
Oketoku. So for me to now waste all the time in a bus, waiting till it is full, people believe we can. So that is it. But we have started somewhere.
But will the state government also embrace this free transportation for people? Talking about the interstate now, at least from probably Mowe to Lagos, since it's already using the access for the CNG bus transit.
I wouldn't know. I am a lawmaker. I am not an executive. I wouldn't know. But we will be happy if our governor can take a cue from what is happening in the federal. And I know he's going to do something on it.
But then most people travel during the holidays when we have tourist centers around.
That's why I said it's a matter of choice. It's a matter of choice. How will I say I want to go to Lumire from those places now? I love visiting nature,
waterfalls,
but then I'll look at when I go, Wahala when I get there, I will relax and I'll come back and go to the hospital again. We have not really put tourism and hospitality, we have not really prioritized it in Nigeria. And an average Nigerian, we don't rest. It is work till you die, until when sickness say rest, forceful rest. But there are places you can visit within your area that will reduce the hassles. Even I can take my wife, children, and say, okay, let us just drive around the town. Madam, pack food, pack this, children stay at the back. Then we'll move around. We'll chat, we'll discuss, even while on the wheel. You chat, you discuss, many things, you eat, it's still part of tourism.
Yeah.
Still part of tourism. Our little children, taking them to, they have a zoological garden in Funab.
Yeah.
You can take them there while they go around, introduce them to the animals. You too, the babas, the mamas, will be in company of of one another is another type of
Professor
tourism.
Adegoke, let's talk about the state of the tourist centers we have in the state now.
Okay.
That is your field. So can people actually go there and relax and have probably enough to wine and dine at low rates, low cost?
Well, talking about attractions or tourism centers within the state is blessed to have quite a number of them. And just like the Honorable tried to, put it, you can, even within your streets, there are areas where one can relax. There are areas one can, hang out and enjoy the benefit of tourism. But talking about, we have quite a number of them. Just like he mentioned, at FUNAF, for instance, there is a zoological garden there. And apart from that, we also have, even within the garden, we have a private-oriented, what do you call it now? Recreation centers, parks, that children can relax. Very interesting, a place, very neat. And of course, it is situated within the heart of nature. The usual place that comes to mind when we talk about attraction, especially within the state capital, is to be our Olumo. I'm even talking of within the state capital. Yes, state capital. And you see, one thing about attraction centers is that when you visit a place first time, second time, and nothing new is happening there, the intention to revisit might not be there. And that was why I agree with him when he said we have not been paying serious attention to tourism. Tourism, any day, in terms of activities, can bring revenue to the state, to a nation.
Professor, we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm going to come back there. Honorable ELEMIDE, you mentioned just now that we here, I'm not talking about Nigeria alone, but Africa, we hardly rest. We hardly recreate. I want to ask, is it our culture? Is it our custom? Or is it the economic reality that doesn't allow us to take a break and relax?
It is not our culture. You see, Egbas, let me put it that way. They have their form of relaxation. Economy is part of it. Economy is part of it. Then government policy too is part of it. In developed world, they sort of encourage workers to go on holidays. Number one, in some countries, when you travel, your expenses will be captured and it will not be taxed. So because it will not be taxed, you feel, yes, I think I should go. Because if you don't go, your income will still be taxed. But this one is non-taxable. Is a form of encouragement to them, and they go. The economy I'm talking about is that when your salary is hardly enough to feed or to do the three basic things of life, food, shelter, and clothing, when do you now reason? When do you think, how will you say you want to recreate? That is what is our problem. Okay. Then culturally, we always put money before every other thing. We put money before every other thing, thinking the more I work, the more, the richer I will become. And that is not always true. Because if you work, and the time you're supposed to relax, hypertension, diabetes, all these things have set in. You have only worked for them.
A lot of countries are reaping the benefit of playing premium on their tourism development. You want to talk about India, you want to talk about Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and of course
even African countries. Go to Kenya,
Tanzania,
East Africa.
Of course, it has become a rhetoric for governments to say we want to diversify, we want to open up our economy, take it away from monolithic culture, oil, and explore other areas, tourism, solid minerals development, and all whatnot. Why are we not getting it right up till now? Because, like everybody will say, tourism has potential of giving Nigeria a lot of revenue. What could be the problem with us?
Yes, I think for tourism to thrive, you need to look at the supply and the demand side of it. For instance, if you don't have something to sell, who is going to buy? Before you can say that people should come, you should have something to sell. Like I always try to explain at different fora. Tourism itself will not bring in the money until we have something that we can sell. And in Nigeria, yes, we have what we refer to as the supply side of tourism. You can talk of the attractions, you can talk of our scenic beauties and all that. Now, if people visit our inbound, the visitors that are coming into the country, if they visit Nigeria, buy things at the airport, buy something within the capital, and then go back, the question is, has that benefited the economy? Knowing fully well our penchant for Tokumbo things. They come, they buy what is produced in other countries. But if you have something to sell, the dollars, the yen, or whatever foreign currency they are bringing in, will be domesticated into the Nigerian market, and that will improve the economy. In this particular, for instance, this Yuletide season, for instance, many of our people maybe may be coming outside the country, may be coming. Why are they coming? Why are they for the Yuletide? What's the essence of it? People want to come, maybe relax, after take stock of over 12 months of activities, bond with their family, attend meetings, set up family projects, maybe carry out events and all that. By the time they come into the country, they are coming with their hard-hand currency. What are they going to be buying? So which means we need to provide what we call the substructure along with the superstructure. And that substructure is not talking about the physical element alone. For instance, tourism products. When you get to the attraction site, what type of thing are they buying? If you go to, you just mentioned OLUDAISI, sir. You go to OLUDAISI waterfall, if our local palm wine is there and they are buying it, it's going to benefit the local people there. But if you go there and you have to buy imported juice,
wine,
at the end of the day, we will end up creating jobs for people in other countries, while our own youth will be talking of lack of a job. So all these things we talk about tourism, we need to be more pragmatic. We need to be more strategic in our approach to it. You just mentioned something. People are deliberately encouraged to go on leave. They're encouraged to travel by giving tax incentive that will, motivate that. Our tax system, has it addressed that? You just said, how many civil servants, how many public servants want to go on holiday? Even traders will prefer, even on public holidays, to be in their shops. These are some of the issues that we are talking about. So there are challenges here and there. The government needs to be strategic. Of course, I want to appreciate what the focus of the present administration in terms of tourism. I've heard some of the things, I've listened to some of the, I hope those things will translate into realities. And I believe that with all the stakeholders coming together, those challenges can be identified and their solution profiled.
Okay.
Professor Bakare.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Your area of specialty is food production and product management. So I want us to talk about the issue of fake goods in our society now, especially, you know, you mentioned wines and other things for the imported ones. And unfortunately, these are the ones that are mostly reproduced, sort of, you know, of lower quality. Like some people were caught in Lagos and some other parts of the country, you know, brewing their own wine, and it's just a mixture of other concoctions. So what can you say about this, the implications of this to the economy, especially this festive period?
We should encourage local production. You see, premium wines, premium products, as it attracts good prices, it also attracts people that want to fake it. Adulteration.
Yes, that's good.
People that deliberately will want to adulterate so that they can make more money. That's not starting with even imported wine in this century. Our ogogoro used to be adulterated, sir. You know, we used to have ogogoro number 1, number 2, number 3, and so on and so forth. But if we encourage local production, and we, as a country, we strive to eat what we produce, that, in a way, will benefit our economy. And we also discourage fakers. For instance, the one you mentioned now, if a particular wine attracts a price of, let's say, like 50,000 naira, and somebody can, you know, fake it, the label and all that, add more water, the person will be making money. And the money the person is making, the tax, is it going into government purse? Is the person doing legitimate business that will benefit the economy? These are some of the issues that, you know, surround all these things. But where you have industries that are producing beverages being encouraged and making impact, and people are, you know, people are encouraging them by consuming what we produce, then it will go a long way in benefiting our economy.
So what should the people look out for?
In terms of what to consume?
Yes.
In terms of what to consume, see, I will advocate that people should strive to get used to what is in our environment.
Talking about getting used to what is an environment, when you visit many homes during this period, you have rice here and there. And we learn that, of course, rice is not a local food. I mean, polished rice is not a local food. And as a specialist on food, let me say specialist on food, most of our food, most of our local delicacies are going to extinction because many people don't know them again. Maybe vegetables, maybe processed food, many people don't know them again. Will you rather suggest that we focus more on our local delicacies so as to at least to reawaken that consciousness, probably as a first step in promoting what is ours, if we want to project ourselves into the global community?
Exactly, sir. I think last week Ratawu had a program where they showcased talents. And one of the takeaway from that I felt was that if we can be looking at indigenous festivals, our indigenous masquerades, why don't we go the whole hog and look at everything that pertains to us as a nation? When we talk about culture, people say culture is a way of life. But beyond that face definition, culture are those things we do in order to survive in our environment. And surviving in our environment, you know, evolves with time. That is what we talk about when we say culture is dynamic, because it continues to change. Even the local cuisines we talk about at times have infusion of input from other climes. So it is good that we develop our local cuisines, especially from local level to the state of national cuisines. Look at our hotels, for instance. Before now, you go to eateries, you go to hotels, the type of food you are confronted with are the exotic ones. But with the development in the fast food business, you see that many restaurants now realize that eba, amala, must be on the table for people to patronize them. That is taking our cuisines up. You go to outside the country, people will want to eat delicacies from their home countries. And that provides opportunity for us to develop it. Like you said, what happened to our dodo ikiri? What happened to our own kokoro? Our kulinkuli, our tanfiri? All these things are, the things we can, add value to. Without sounding immodest, I must say that my university, University of Agriculture, deliberately has a policy of looking back and saying, look, you must have value addition to local foods, to local, local cuisines. In hospitality and tourism, which is my department, food service is an important component. And when you talk about food service, you're talking about ready-to-consume food. And that is even a little bit different from food retailing that the vendors does. Because these are the aspects of the market that the government can capture. These are the aspects of the industry that government can say, look, if we have need for intervention, either to prevent malnutrition and all that, we can release food from the food bank. We can subsidize raw material input so that lots of people can go there and eat, as it is done in the other, in developed countries where eating out is even cheaper.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Elemide. I want you to talk about, I want us to take a look at a video on social media. He talked about rice being a staple food, and it is the one that is mostly consumed at this period. But unfortunately, a few days ago, there was a video on social media, viral one, of customs shooting sporadically at Lafenwa area, just because they seized some goods, rice, and they claimed the people there wanted to attack them, and because of that, they had to be shooting in the air. Thank God, I didn't hear any reports of loss of life, stray bullets and all that. But what can the assembly do to curb instances like that? And is it even proper for them?
They have their laws.
Yes.
They have their enabling acts. So, and this act gives them a lot of power and muscle to operate. But don't forget, in every law, human beings must participate. When I was confronted, I said, yes, it is scary, it is not good, it is this, it is that. But go to Mexico, where drug cartels are being encountered. Even in developed nations, you still experience such. Because smugglers are smugglers. They are ready to kill. And if you have anything to defend yourself, you will defend yourself. Thank God you said you didn't hear of any death. That means they did it professionally. Fine, people were scared. The problem we have in Nigeria is this. Some years back, I bought this Nigerian rice and I gave to people. And my wife was like, imported. I said, even this imported rice we are eating are not first grade there. These constitute a lot of problem to our health. Then I bought that rice. I've forgotten the brand name. I think it was bagged in Kano or somewhere.
Okay.
So when we were to do Christmas, I said, Madam, cook that rice. And the rice, they cooked the rice. All our guests ate the rice. Visitors, my wife said, come to think of it, it's even better than imported rice. And I said, look at it, you are eating local rice. Somebody told me, local rice, stone. I said, can you import beans? Are there no stones in your beans? Because you don't have alternative, you will know how to pick those stones. Sometimes, somehow, previously, these developed nations must have had that experience. But because of patronage continuity, they were able to improve on the product. And that is what, we just like being slaves on our land. That is the way I see it. And they are now saying, those, when Buhari stopped importation, many farmers went into the field and they made profit. And because people have found their way around the custom, they have found their way around all these border people, and the rice have flooded the town, these farmers no longer have that profit. There are many things that are wrong, and that is why local rice is now more expensive. Well, if I am a poultry farmer. There was a time there was a ban on frozen.
President Obasanjo did that.
Yes, we spent more money, we invested more money. But now that it is no longer the same, everybody is withdrawing. We are not encouraging local production. That is simple.
So what is the fate of further rice producers now, especially, you know, it's not some, it is available, but
It's
expensive, and the fact that you say there are different grades of it. What can the government do to actually encourage the farmers?
Government, because there are many brands, the government has nothing to do to that. You buy whichever one suits you. But what government can do now, we subsidize fuel. We have said, okay, we are no longer subsidizing fuel. Then they should subsidize agriculture. We have FUNAB there. They have FUNAB honey. I am very sure of that. They have FUNAB Gari. They have
oil Gari.
What has the government done for them to go into this production in large scale? That is what we should be looking at. If a university is producing all those things in large scale, some elites or many elites will want to patronize. And FUNAB will make profit. And as long as they make profit, they won't want to back out on something that will give them profit. The same thing we can do for farmers. Even FUNAB can decide to buy over. If what they are producing is not enough and they need, people are demanding for it, they can buy off the farmers in that area.
And then produce.
And produce. And people will say it is FUNAB. You know our mentality. They won't say it is Babasikira rice. Yeah, Michael rice. They will say FUNAB. Professor BAKARE is there. Something like that. The incentives are not there for farmers. Recently, to me, recently we had an experience of swine fever. I lost close to 400 pigs. So if I don't have anything, if I didn't have any other thing doing, that's the end of their business.
Professor BAKARE, let's talk about investment in tourism. Apart from the known landmarks that we have around, the Lumoro, the Bilkis, the Jesha, waterfall, and whatnot. Of course, government annually spend on them, but we've not had large investment, private investment now.
That is what we need.
Private investment in tourism. Maybe because of the fact that the investment in tourism doesn't bring in quick returns. Maybe that is why. How can we motivate, how can we attract more private investment into tourism?
Okay. Sorry, before I respond to that, let me just chip in on the rice thing. Ofada rice is our local delicacy. And it is produced in relatively small quantity. Apart from that, talking about local rice, you can have local rice whose quality will also be the same as those of imported. What does it take to produce that kind of rice? You just need the right technology, you need the right equipment, the technology available. The equipment can also be locally fabricated. In the north, around the Bida area, you have hubs where people take their rice to, and they also the stone. So who says that we can't do the same thing, polish it, package it, and make it available locally? You have Nigerian climate is suitable for both.
The moment you write bidder, this is Nigeria. The moment you write produced in bidder,
that's finished.
The no-go area.
So I just want to chip that in, sir. And that, by extension, also affects other forms of investments. People want to put their money where they will get returns. Some businesses comes with, immediate return in the short and medium, term basis. Whereas some on the long term basis. Look at the investment on recreational facilities, for instance. Millions of nairas can go into it, but to recoup those investments, particularly in the resort, if it's not, urban located, it will take a lot of time. What is a bank doing in terms of providing long-term loan on long-term basis? Most commercial banks will prefer to give loan, at least our honorable here is a farmer, so you understand what I'm talking about. Rather than give you long-term loan,
they don't want to give loan for agric. That is it.
Even for other businesses, they prefer something that will bring immediate return. But when they are talking about other countries where we so much want to admire, either government goes into it, invest there, and then put the operation on that in the hands of private people, or they encourage situation where loans can be advanced, say about 10, 20 years. Even ordinary houses that we build, if you are going to rent it out, you build for 10 million. How long is it going to take to recoup that investment? So we need to look at that. People want return on investment. Again, you mentioned how many people travels locally. We conducted a study sometimes, I think back 2012, and we discovered that majority of Nigerians prefer to travel out. In other words, the number of people traveling out in Nigeria are more than the people coming in for tourism. Now, if you consider places like East Africa that you mentioned, sir, by the time we check their stuff, you have more of influx than people going out. What does that suggest? We take out our home money, spend it outside, whereas those money should come in and be invested here. So if we invest in various aspects of tourism, particularly those things, those substructure, the superstructure that support tourism, we may get to a situation where people, the return on investment will be higher. And come to think of it, in Ogun State, we have so many, tourism that borders on, festivals. Ojudioba, Oronode, and all that. Okay? Yeah. Most times, these are festivals that are usually patronized by local people. We can develop that and make it, something that will attract patronage from outside the country. Although, I'm not talking about fake tourism. People have been talking about putting something, just put a fake thing, put a fake news to a thing and it will be tourism. No, we have genuine history, genuine stories that we can put behind the attractions, put behind events that will attract people to come, and patronize us. And these things will bring investment. Look at Oluma Rock. How many people are benefiting from it now, except from the local people?
Honorable ELEMIDE, when you talk about Oluma Rock, when you talk about Biliki Chuchubo, when you talk about even the irrigation, those are places that brings flash income. I call them flash income because the attraction, the population, the traffic to those sites doesn't come regularly. It comes when we have something to celebrate, maybe festivals to celebrate. How can we make such a place attractions that will connote or attract regular visitation? Because the last time I was at Oluma, I can see that most of the facilities, most of the maybe conveniences there were bad. We're talking about maintenance this time around.
That is Nigeria for you. And it manifests in every facet of our life. Look at your studio. Look at OGTV. Look at everywhere. So, if I'm talking of tourism, hospitality, firstly I won't be talking on revenue generation.
Yeah.
I'll be talking from the point of people taking rest, people relaxing, people, families increasing the bond, the affection. It is not all about revenue now. It goes beyond that. Government has no business in business. That's my own principle. Government has no reason to do anything in business. What we need is to provide enabling environment, a working system that private people can come in and they are rest assured that when they come in, their money is secured, their future is secured, then the long-term operation is secured. That is what we need to put in place by government. Now, Olumo is there. How much is going to the, or how much goes to the coffers of the state government? How much? To me, it should have been given to a reputable tourism or something, an investor. Then let them operate. But people will say they have sold our assets. Look at former Gateway Hotel, Ogun State Hotel. Look at what they are doing now, parking. Look at, we should encourage private investors. But tourism goes beyond. And let me tell you, most developments, most inventions, first of all, will tackle need.
Yes.
Before you talk of income. The person that designed or that designed the electric bulb did not do it because he wanted to make money. Okay, what can we do to overcome this darkness? So if you work on needs and you are able to satisfy people's needs, money will come.
Like we are having in hospitality sector, you have a lot of hotels and they are making money.
They have their resort. They
are making money.
We were in Wosam Arena, and we were encouraged. When we were looking at where do we go for retreat, and some of my, they said Lagos. I said, what are we going to do in Lagos? And somebody said there is Wosam in Agowe. I said, I first of all felt like Wosam, Agowe. And we watched the clip. It's better now. And when we got there, we were surprised at what we saw. The man is not thinking of immediate profit. But number one, you know, he's an Ijebu man. And I like Ijebus from one thing. They don't forget their home, their hometown. Unlike we, I stand to be corrected.
Okay, Prof, if the hospitality subsector is making it, progressing, why is it not rubbing on the actual tourism? Why is it not rubbing on it?
Well, I don't think we can generalize that it's not rubbing off. The subsectors are actually supporting tourism, but you see, coordinated efforts need to be made to be able to, aggregate the totality of the benefits that comes with tourism. I differ a little bit slightly with my honorable. Government has no hand in going into business. You provide the enabling environment. But there are businesses that are vital. There are industries that are vital to the development of a nation. That an average businessman would not want to put his money there.
I thought it's not business. Government should not be looking at profit.
That's what I'm saying. Government can decide, for instance, if you have If they discover that this is going to benefit our people,
That is.
you put money there, you invest there, take it up to a point, and then allow the private people to run it. In developed countries that we talk about, some of these, when they are talking about, we talk about departure from the socialism thing, and we say capitalism. You find them investing either directly or indirectly in certain sector. And then when it has grown up to a stage, they hand over or allow private sector to take charge. But like he said, you may get to a situation where people will say, no, you are selling assets. That is because of issue of transparency. So the subsector, like the hotel business, for instance, primarily to sell lodging. Who are the lodgers? These are, so to say, either domestic tourists or international tourists that are coming into the country. And when they come, of course, they make money from them. But the thing is, on the overall, the money they are making, is it trickling down? The bed sheets we are using there, the duvet, are they produced locally? Some of the equipment that we have there, they produce locally so that they'll be able to trickle down into the base of the economy. So when you may not be talking about tourism in terms of revenue, you talk about other benefits. There are intrinsic reward to every activities. Honorable here just mentioned now that when you talk about needs, government is about, you see, governance is about developing the people, the space. And I had another addition. It's also about developing, adding value to time for people. If people have quality time in terms of value addition, then it's going to promote longevity. Somebody once asked me, when I say value, how can you add value to time? In a place of work, you just imagine if this studio is not conducive for you to work, instead of spending 8 hours here, you spend 4 hours and go. That is value addition. So value addition cut across every spheres of life, including tourism. Sorry, sir. Even the fast food business, which is my main area of concern now, that is, imagine how much value are we adding into it. We want to mitigate hungers. We want to mitigate challenges. This festive period, can government just close its eyes and say, look, we are selecting some restaurants, non-restaurants across communities. For festive period, you can go in there and eat.
Do you think, Prof, if
I'm throwing a challenge now. And
the people bombarded it. But still talking about the restaurants you're talking now, you talked about, you mentioned, what can the government do to ensure that they serve quality food? Because most of them, it seems, I would not say they are not well monitored, regulations and all that, but there are times we'll just visit some places and the quality of what you get there will be nothing to write home about. It's either the chicken is not well grilled, so what can the government do? And people like you, what are you doing to ensure that we move away from this, people get their money's worth?
The value for their money. Thank you very much for that question. It's not peculiar to Nigeria. I won't mention now, I was in an hotel in the country, and they brought grilled chicken fillets. And when I open it, I see, blood. So I told them to return it. And the man was F&B manager was apologetic. But the starting point was that they said rice, a menu that contains rice and chicken. And when they brought the rice, there was no chicken. So I now insisted that, where is the chicken? Your menu says rice and chicken. So the man, in order to compensate, now brought that. And the grill also contained not properly cooked. That is where food service differs from, the retail food business. When Mr. Biggs and Co. were coming on board, it became pertinent for them to have quality assurance departments where they check the quality of their products, the pastries and all that, before they take them, especially from the central kitchen. When I say central kitchen, where they are produced before distributing them to other channels. So in the same way, if government pays attention to the fast food sector or to the food service subsector, first by looking at the challenges in terms of their raw material input, ordinarily food in that sector should be cheaper than homemade food. For instance, if others are buying rice in the market, maybe at 54,000 naira per bag, and they are getting it at subsidized rate, either directly from the government or from consortium of farmers, that should bring down the cost of their input into that production. And by extension, it should give them the leverage to have good prices. Another thing, sir, is that the staff that operate fast food joints, many of them are untrained. What you usually have is that you have a manager whose orientation is usually business oriented. How many professionals are really engaged? Then again, look at some of the support system, the energy they use, and all that. Now we know the cost of petrol, we know the cost of gas, we know all that. These are the trickle-down effect. Because before you talk about quality, yes, you need to focus on quality. You should also look at the constraints to that quality. When you address that, at the same time you are monitoring quality, then you are going to get results. Let me say that nutritionists usually say that the food from the fast food sector, that they refer to it as junks, because arguably it's maybe producing dry calories or maybe not properly cooked. But that is the area where you really need intervention, because food consumed by them, produced by them, can get to the larger segment of the populace.
Okay, Honorable Elemide, let's interrogate this statement that government doesn't have any business in business. Rather, they should provide an enabling environment. And Professor BAKARE, a little differ from that statement. Let me talk specifically about the Gateway Hotel you mentioned. When Gateway Hotel was established by late Olabisi Onabanjo years back, they had a projection, they had vision. At least the hotel run for more than 20 years before the policy was changed from the concept of providing hospitality business into some other thing like you mentioned. If the private entrepreneurs can break even, citing, establishing hotel businesses here and there, why is it difficult for government? And I know specifically that, for a statement of fact, that most of the larger patronage of the Gateway Hotel were even government officials, even government, the existing government then, they are the major patronage of those hotels. Why is it difficult?
Because we are Nigerians.
We're talking about corruption or
because we are Nigerians. Yes, if you talk about corruption, that's part of it. If government should set up a hotel and government patronizes the place and government refuses to pay, what will happen? What do you think will happen?
Of course, it will run down.
When you are talking of corruption, at a time, the state government was subsidizing Gateway Hotel. Why do I need to subsidize or subsidize continuously? A child of 10 years that refuses to work, what do we do? Should we say the mother should not be impregnated again? No, they will put the child somewhere and say, oh, the mentality of this is government money. It is our government. Anybody can take it. We will not let government thrive in business. That's why I said Like Olumo Rock that we're talking about, you said it was dilapidated. Assuming government should raise it to a standard, say, okay, we want to concession it. You want to come in. We have an MOU. The standard must not be lower than this. Yeah. Every year you must add this, you must add that, and any other thing you feel. Let there be an agreement. You see that these private investors will do it, and our people will benefit. That's why I said I'm not talking about government revenue now. I'm not talking about government making money. If I concession it, I must have made some profit as a government. Like the cargo airport that the governor said, yes, it was. When he told us the reasons behind it, I bought into it, I keyed it into it. The government was able to obtain a single-digit loan that private investors wouldn't have been able to secure. And they put money into the place. Now, it's not investors, is it possible, it's not possible. That one has been removed. And many people are now coming in, they want to concession it, they want to go into partnership. And I will say, okay, let's say I spent 2 billion, I can say, okay, I'm going to concession it for 2.5 billion. I would have made my profit anyway. Let them come in, they will do it because they are aware that they want to make profits. Because people will just say, Shebi na government thing, Shebi is government thing. I was saying something when I was coming in. I said, your building over there. At the time this was built, I was in government anyway. I was part of the committee anyway. But I said, is it building that we need? Or equipping that building there by state of the art or equipment. Give the workers incentives. How many private stations are as big as what we have in OGTV? And what do we have now? What do we have? Entering this place will look like, to me, look like a kindergarten studio.
Let us move away from this one, and let's go to, this is the main topic now. This is the season of promotions, you know, a kind of freebies from organizations, you know, they tell you buy this, get one free, and they kind of lessen the prices of some of their goods. How do they, when you talk about tourism and hospitality now, how do they contribute, boost the economy?
There is a Yoruba poem, I don't know the author now, Afaimo. Kawomasun lebi Afaimo. And he said, a pastor that is crying, take this, take that. At the end of the month, if he's not the founder, he will still collect his salary. Have you? He was saying something. These people are, it is good because they know that this is festive period, we will need those things, and they are giving us what we need. They are even doing buy now, pay later. Why will I buy now and pay later something that is consumable, that will not add value, that will not even generate amount to increase in revenue generation? But people are doing it because they don't have the means, or they have the ojukokoro, and somebody is bringing it. I know you need it. I'll give it to you now. I've seen you now. I know you like Adire. I can start Adire business tomorrow, and I can say, okay, for this Christmas period, this one used to be 5,000 naira. You pay 4,000. Did I like you? Is it because I like you? Maybe that thing I bought it 3,500.
Professor Bakare, time is not our friend. We're wrapping up. Time is not our friend. Your last take. What do you suggest? How do you advise people to spend Christmas and New Year?
Well, I will say that people should take advantage of what the season represents. is a season of giving, a season of sharing, a season where people do sober reflection to reset, you know, look at what has happened in the past, reset the agenda for the future. So I would say that they should celebrate with moderation. I will also say, based on what we've been discussing all along, that manpower is also key. When you produce your local manpower and you are able to get them involved, they have some element of commitment. You know, it's not the way that the local players in the Super Eagle plays when they are playing that the international one will play. So for a department like us, where we have the opportunity of producing both the middle and the higher level manpower, I think in a way we are also contributing directly to the system. Postgraduate programs and all that in hospitality and tourism.
Okay, Honorable Olamide, let's hear from you so that we can just wrap up.
All I would tell our people is, Shivotimo, and secondly, make people the rest. Simple.
Correct.
So, that is our package on this discussion segment. You've heard it firsthand from Professor Bakare of the Department of Tourism and Hospitality, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, and of course, Honorable ELEMIDE of the Ogun State House of Assembly. You've heard their thoughts, you've heard their perspective, and they've given us what it takes, at least to enjoy our Christmas, and even beyond, how to rest and how to take advantage of what is available around us to make us a better person. Once again, I want to thank you for coming.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. Muji?
Okay, we have come to the end of New Dawn for today. And let me just say moderation. Don't forget, moderation is the key word here. Compliments of the season. Enjoy the best of the season. Goodbye.